What's good, family? This is the final and fifth chapter, and it's good that it's a pretty short book in my mind, because the real focus here when you're reading is going to be taking what you read, applying it for your own life with the questions, and then activation. I don't want to take up too much of your time with you just in the thinking phase. I want you to get to high performance, and I especially want you to get to this phase, which is generativity, being charitable. So once you've accumulated a great amount of wealth, once you've really gotten to the point where you understand what you're doing, you have a great flow of business, and you're happy, you're fulfilled in what you're doing. You may not have accomplished all your financial goals yet. You may not have really invested in too many assets, but you have enough time, money, energy, and focus. These are your major commodities in order to get by in life. And the main idea that I want to get across to you with this book and with these videos is understanding the value of your time, understanding the value of your focus, and understanding the value of your energy, and then money truly and honestly comes into play. I may not make, these are free videos. The book is only $3. I only make $1 per book. This isn't something that I did to get rich. This isn't something that I did to make a lot of money for myself. I'm looking for a great job. Not a good job, not a comfortable job, a great job. So, there's certain things you got to do within yourself. Sometimes you are the charity. I'll give you an anecdote a little bit later, but let's get to some hard things. First thing, being charitable is beneficial to you, beneficial to other people. And it doesn't just work in one way when just donating money. But if you do donate and give to charity, make sure that you're getting your tax forms back for that. Make sure that you're giving to real and legitimate organizations, because you can sacrifice a lot of time and energy and money to something that's poorly organized that may never ever be fully organized, while you could just be volunteering time where you're at. So my anecdote, I spent all of April trying to raise money for an orphanage in the Gambia, and we raised nothing. I donated some money, and times are very hard right now. There's a lot going on. I was one of the 10 million people that lost their jobs. I was giving money away, giving this time, getting this energy and this focus away, doing a lot of research on nonprofits and how to really raise and how to run a fundraiser. But it's very difficult to do that, and this is going to go into everything that we've been discussing. If the orphanage isn't accredited, the orphanage isn't registered, if the orphanage is in a whole other country, you're putting more distance between yourself and your goal, quite honestly. And I don't know, that's kind of what I did for the past month. I don't regret it, and I don't really feel bad about it. I did learn a lot about it and from it. But just make sure that when you're donating your time, you're donating your energy, you're putting it to, yeah. So, that's it. You're done with the book. You're done listening to me. And now we can all move forward with our lives. I really don't want this video to be too long, because some of the videos are like an hour, 40 minutes, and there's very necessary, needed information there. All I really have to say about the topic in this last chapter was thank you for reading the book. Thank you for following me and listening to me. Definitely check out the other parts of this. But quite honestly, there's really not much else to discuss. I guess we can talk about that for about 5 minutes or so. In reading this book, writing the book, researching the book, and doing all the study necessary to get to this point, what I really and truly honestly realized was that becoming a millionaire isn't as difficult as we make it out to be. Financial discipline isn't as difficult as we make it out to be, but the key word there is what we make it out to be. Sometimes we truly do want things without putting forth the proper effort necessary to get what we want. It's very hard to discuss that. It's very hard to talk about that because right now the debate and the dialogue on wealth inequality in America is very one way. It's this idea that rich people are very selfish and very stingy and don't want to pay their fair share of taxes, but yet they're also the highest philanthropists, the highest charitable donations to philanthropies ever, and that would make sense because they have the money to offer. Meanwhile, you have people living in impoverished neighborhoods, living in low-income neighborhoods, struggling generationally. Struggling from the grandfather down to the great-grandchild. And it's rough for everybody. There is no person on this planet that isn't dealing with issues, that's not dealing with strife, that's not dealing with pain. But my challenge to you is to really remove the idea of being a rich man or being a poor man. I know Robert Kiyosaki may not agree with that, but even reading Rich Dad Poor Dad with Robert Kiyosaki, there is nothing wrong with Robert Kiyosaki's father. His father was a very brave man, and if you know a little bit more about him and his father, Robert Kiyosaki practically grew up to become his father. He's doing the same thing now with wealth that his father attempted to do with the Board of Education in Hawaii, or Hawaii, depending on if you want to pronounce it correctly or not. So don't run from your legacy, don't run from your lineage, but you have to embrace the fact that there's certain things that you learned about having a relationship with a woman or a relationship with a man that your parents were not capable of teaching you, and now you're suffering for that. There's certain things that we learned about money, how to use money, what money is and what money is for, that 50 hours of research and then another 50 hours of application will show you differently. Do 50 hours of research about money and it will completely change your life. It will change your perspective. And the first thing that you're going to go through, like most people do, is that you're going to go through a lot of anger. You're going to have a lot of hatred for the system. You're going to be very disinterested in being a productive member of society because you're going to realize and learn that money is basically fiat currency. It's willed to be. So our system is run off of credit. Our system is run off of debt. You want something, you don't have anything that this person wants but servitude. So my journey and my difficulties were that everything was slavery to me. Everything was great difficulty in perceiving the larger picture of what I can do with my wealth and finances until I realized that I'm inevitably going to make $1 million. And then I'm looking at these corporations, it was really working at Target that made me see through the veil. So this is very recently that I've lifted my eyes fully. And what got me with Target is that Target workers, people that work at Target, have Target credit cards and owe Target money with their credit cards. This isn't a shot against the company or a shot against people that use credit, but they owe their job money. So every paycheck that they get, a percentage of their paycheck goes back to the business. That's just the credit limit. You also get a small kind of 10% discount when not working at Target. So every time you're coming home from work, basically, or you have a lunch break, what are you going to do? You're going to do your shopping at Target. You're going to do your shopping exactly where you are. And I was doing customer service, so I would see people come up to me that work there, and they're just buying exorbitant amounts of stuff at Target. There's no real discount. There's no real special advantage. All you're saving is 10%. But when you have that poverty mindset, you feel like if you're saving any money, you're winning, but you're not. You're trapping yourself. I go to the grocery store with my girlfriend all the time now, and I have to tell her, she's like, oh my God, this is on sale. I'm like, everything's on sale. You're in a store. Everything you look at on these shelves is for sale. You're in a store. Just because something has a yellow price tag on it versus the white price tag doesn't mean that it's cheaper, especially when you look right next to it. and you see something for normal price that equates to the same 2 for $6 or 2 for $5 deal. They just want you to sell this one special brand. And I've worked in grocery stores before, primarily because that thing is probably going to expire soon, and then they stand to lose much more money, or they upsell you on it so that you buy it. My point of that is that the world is filled with scams. The world is filled with people trying to get rich off of you. The world is filled with people with very bad financial habits. There's a great YouTube channel called 2 Cents that discusses financial topics. There's another guy, Gold and Silver, something. But if you type in gold and silver, what is money, there's like hours of videos discussing the history of currency, discussing the history of money and the history of finance. And it's look into it. It's very interesting stuff, because then you can move into the phase where you start to realize that this is a game. You start to realize, God, honestly, that we are picking and choosing winners and losers. I posted something to get there on Facebook. I post these videos up that you don't get to see it. It'll probably be a year until these videos are seen, because that's just how we work. So your journey in finances, your journey in getting rich, your journey in really mastering all these things is far less about mastering a career or a job. If you do it, then more power to you. That's phenomenal. That's great. I'm appreciative of anyone who's gone to college. I'm appreciative of anyone working a 9-to-5 job, because years ago, I didn't really believe in those things. I thought it was slavery. I thought we were all living in wage slavery. We were all living in debt slavery. But slavery is something that you do without having a choice. Slavery is something that you do without any other sense of control for your life. While our society seems to be structured in a way in which you need to work for somebody else to get rich, there are many people not doing that. Whether they're working for a multi-level marketing program, pyramid scheme, or they are living sustainably, crazy. I'm being very sardonic when I say that. Not every single MLM, I would just say an MLM within itself, the way that it's structured, is probably just how marketing naturally works. When you want to sell a product, you're going to first go to people that you know, or people that you have some sense of affiliate. There's an A group, B group, and a C group. That A group is going to be people that you already have a very hot, warm relationship with. That B group is maybe you have a warm, lukewarm relationship with. You've met them before, but you really haven't gotten to know each other. And then there's this C group of strangers, people that you barely know whatsoever. You don't even know how you got their phone number or why the hell they're in your Facebook group. I'm looking at people right now. Actually, I know most of these people. I have Facebook open in the background. I actually know a little bit of these people. But I've never really had conversations with them. I've never really sat them down before. I've never gotten to know who they are as people. So when things aren't working out the way that you want them to, you really got to reevaluate, look back at yourself and see, what am I doing? There's no harm in that. That's a good thing to do. And when you don't do it, you lose a lot of money. You lose a lot of time, you lose a lot of energy, you waste your focus on things that don't really matter. And there's no real benefit to that. I know this video doesn't have like a lot of charismatics. I'm really trying to end the video. Maybe I'll come back and do something longer, an hour or so. But I feel like everything that needs to be said about wealth and finance has already been said. You live in a corrupted system. I'm sorry to tell you that. The system is corrupt. There are people that have been rich for 1,000 years. Their family's been rich. They control every single facet of your life. They created your currency and finance system. What are you going to do, man? You're waiting for me to say I'm going to tell you what you're going to do? I already told you what to do. I wrote a whole book. If you didn't get the information already, I can't help you. And it was like, that's the whole point of this project, is just for me internally as well as for you. If this book can't help you get rich, you're not going to get rich, because there's no other method. There's no other method than having a job, starting a side business, legitimizing your business into an actual business, hiring other people, and then massively exploiting yourself for thousands upon millions of people. There's no other way. You can either work or you can suffer. There's no other way to live. You can farm, which is working. You can start your own business, which is working. You can teach other people, which is working. You can start an online course, which is going to require a lot of work. I think that people think that you can get rich in this world and you don't have to do anything. Even these people that are born into wealth, you know, they have an easier life than you do. Absolutely. They have control over your life. Absolutely. But let's be honest, they are typically shitty people. Whenever someone inherits something without any sense of effort whatsoever, there are very few people that have become millionaires in our day and age, especially, that didn't come from poverty, that didn't come from some sense of struggle, who, from their personal perspective, I'm not comparing, don't think that they've had a hard time in life, that don't think that they have issues, that don't think that they have struggles and issues. So, once again, remove that idea of a rich man and a poor man. There's just people. And then certain people have better financial skills than others. There's nothing wrong if you don't make $1 million a year. Most people do not. In addition, most people that do make $1 million in a year have very close to $1 million in expenses and might walk away with $100,000. So don't glamorize this idea of being rich. That's the whole point of what Derek has to go through. You are Derek. You have illusions and delusions of wealth and an easier lifestyle that does not exist. And until you're able to undergo that sense of ego death, until you're able to accept in reality the way the world is, just like he had to, just like Dr. Huxley says, this is going to cause a lot of, my nose is itching, so I know it's going to cause a lot of arguments, a lot of issues with people. Feel free to leave your complaints, feel free to leave your comments. This isn't about being passive. It's not about being plaintive. It's not about accepting this world in which there are elitist families in the world that control everything. It's quite the opposite, in fact. The only way you're going to defeat the Illuminati, the only way you're going to defeat the secret societies is if they can no longer control your life. You got to stop becoming a consumer. You have to become a producer. You have to stop being wanton with your finances and being completely undisciplined with your life. You can't keep living a lifestyle of not caring and not having any hope for the future. It's not about having to play the game and having to bow your head down to get through society. It's about, okay, I have to work for a living. What can I do that's going to fill me with life? That's your new challenge. How do I live my life without being in competition with my neighbors? There's the infinite game, and then there's competition. I love pro wrestling, so I'm going to give it to you like this. You have WWE that doesn't need to compete with anybody, but they still do. And they struggle financially. They struggle with team morale. They struggle internally. They just have to fire so many people because they're constantly within this competition mindset. You have AEW, a brand new organization, a baby organization, in direct competition with WWE. They say they're not in competition, but it's direct fucking competition with WWE. And then you have TNA, you have Impact. Impact is insulted all the time within the wrestling community. It's talked down upon all the time in the wrestling community. It's insulted as just being independent circlet, but I've never heard Impact complain about anything. Their superstars have great morale, they have very creative storylines, and they've been around for so long. They're playing the infinite game. They're not in competition with anybody. And that's how your life needs to become. It's no longer about us versus them. There's only us. There's only humanity. There are more people starving, there are more people hungry than there are people that are rich. There are more people that make $50,000 annually than make $100,000 annually. They make $200,000 annually. So you don't have to focus so much on turning your 50,000 into 100,000. You have to focus on, how do I keep my 50,000? Stop looking at other people's lives and thinking that they have it better than you, because they don't. They have struggles and issues that you will never want to deal with. Stop looking at other people like they're going to solve your problem. If someone is like me is electing to tell you that they can solve your problem, they're electing to show you what they can do for you. Take what they have to offer at face value, because that's the help that they have to give you. Stop looking and give horse in the mouth, because not a lot of people are going to take the time and energy to try to teach you. They're just going to try to trick you, manipulate you, and use you. I know I'm a good guy. I know that I get taken advantage of a lot, and I could have really sold this course to you for $500. And the scary thing to me is that if I would have been selling this course for $500 versus giving it away for free, people would have had more value and more respect for me trying to rape and manipulate people for $500 rather than just trying to help people by giving up for information. People have less respect for me and less value for my books because I'm attempting to give them to you for 99 cents or $2.99 instead of selling to you for their actual value of $9.99 for an ebook and $20 to buy a hard copy. We do it to ourselves, quite honestly. Because I studied psychology, we have champagne taste, but we are a corn meal wine species. We are a species that was made from dust and came from the mud by the Almighty God and the Almighty God alone. We are a species that still only needs food and shelter to survive. Everything else that you want outside of that is a part of the brainwashing and the manipulation that if you don't fight consumerism, if you don't fight being materialistic, if you can't fight being shallow, if you can't fight your mind being programmed by stereotypes, you don't have to worry about the Illuminati. You don't have to worry about your secret societies. You don't have to worry about your bosses, because you've already lost your own humanity. Once you return to being human, you can get rich. Because then all these other things that you're spending the only money you're ever going to get on will no longer have value for you. Playing the stock market is going to make a lot more sense to you because you're no longer looking with an American perspective or a European perspective or anything of that nature. You're looking at it as a human. Okay, oil, gold, and technology are the only real things that are going to be here in 100 years. We're still going to need technology. We're still going to need gold and silver. We're still going to need oil. These things are always going to be there. And then you can look into agriculture and food. Agriculture stocks are like 30 cents a share. You can buy hundreds of shares of agriculture, begin having a relationship with the owner of the company, and then maybe you can find a job in the company simply because you've already invested so much within the company. You can think like that. This video is already a lot longer than I wanted it to be, so I'm just going to try to close it up for you. This financial war that we're in, yes, there are other people out there, there are corporations that don't care about us as humans. You still give them millions of dollars every single day. The only reason why these companies have money is because of us. The only reason these companies function is because of us as humans, as people. If they don't value you and they don't value your labor, they don't value your patronage, only a slave thinks that. Only a slave thinks the pyramid can stand without a bottom. Because it can't. I gave you these financial skills. I wrote this book and I gave you the character of Derek as an extension of myself, absolutely. As a sense of charity, absolutely. But also so you just purely understand and know the effects that this has on people. The stress that people are under. The pressure that people feel trying to provide for their families. And everything that we really have to go through as humans to get through this planet, to get through life. It's not easy. It's very hard. It's very difficult. It's going to be difficult if you're poor. It's going to be difficult if you're rich. Life is hard. Money isn't going to solve all your problems. Money is going to solve money-related issues. Money can't solve emotionality. Money can't solve being a decent person. Money can't solve, most importantly, not knowing how to manage money to begin with. If you can't manage $1,000 a month, you're not going to manage $10,000 a month. You're not going to manage $100,000 a month. You're not going to manage $1 million. Start with what you have. What you have is yourself. You know how much you eat. You know how much you eat out. If the two things aren't comparable, cook for yourself. You know what your actual issue is in the world. If it's that your spouse can't have a real conversation with you, buying this person gifts and things isn't going to change your conversation issues. You need to pay rent. That's great. To get a job that affords you to pay rent and buy food. And then with your extra time and your extra money, learn some new skills. Learn how to build certain things, because then you can create something outside of that income that can bring you in more money. You're only going to be earning more money with the more that you learn and the more that you're educated. If you learn a skill and a trade, like this, if all you know is carpentry, that's great. You can make a great deal as a carpentry, a carpenter. If you introduce plumbing into that after 5 years or so, you can humble yourself, because a lot of people have issues with pride and humility. You can humble yourself. You can do an apprenticeship. You can learn how to plumb. You can learn pipe fitting. Maybe you learn some electric work or some HVAC. You're no longer just a carpenter. You're now an expert within that field. So now you can work and you can teach other people. It's like that. It's just so much simpler than it was for me before I started this journey, when I thought that college was a scam, when I thought that the world was fair. It's not fair. And the only way it's ever going to be fair for you specifically, is if you even up your own life, you fix your own life, you fix what you are personally going through, and you address your actual issues. If you're not capable of doing that, you're going to struggle for a very long time. Money isn't going to solve that. It's not going to fix it. You hear about people that are very rich that get preyed upon by very parasitic people that they now have to pay child support to or alimony to. Money is going to attract more issues for you, because the more people think that you have it, they're either going to think that you're an evil jerk. The more that you want to pursue it, they're going to think you're an evil jerk. So you don't have to deal with those people. I'm not saying give up on humanity. I'm not saying be poor forever. I'm not saying anything like that whatsoever. I'm saying that money doesn't make you a better person. Being poor doesn't make you a better person. You being a better person is going to make you better with money. It's going to make you better with people. It's going to make you better with yourself. It's going to give you better relationships. So I'm not saying even personal development, because Dan Penny will tell you the idea of personal development within itself was created to be an endless loop of people robbing you and selling you products for income. It's about personhood. For me personally, and from my perspective, this didn't begin with, well, I guess it did begin with wanting to be rich at a very young age, but it really began with meditation. It really began with just calming my mind down so I could deal with the world. It started with finding real friends and good friends, people that could help. And then it moved into working a job, finding something to do that I really enjoyed, and then finding a field of study out of all the job experiences that I've had that I could pursue for years on end. And then I realized that I had poor financial skills. I lost my apartment, because life is unfair and they can evict you from your apartment, blah, 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 blah. But we had enough money to pay our rent and shit like that. And we spent it on dumb crap. We spent it on eating out. We spent it on having arguments and having fights. And then having dinner and buying all this crap to make each other feel better instead of just being good people. We don't have those issues anymore. your life is going to start with you. It doesn't mean that you have to be a selfish person. But as a friend told me today, you're the charity first. You have to start in yourself first. And then once you work on yourself, you work on your own habits, you work on everything that you're doing, then you can focus on helping other people. But until you do that, you don't have to worry about anything larger than you, because these people can't control you unless you want to be controlled. The only way that you can be controlled by these people is if you keep giving them your money and giving them your money, giving them your money, giving them your money. They know you're going to be a millionaire. People know your value. People know that you can be successful. Especially if they're physically looking at you and they can physically feel your energy and see you. People know you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about none of this. You don't know. Reread this book over again. Really invest some time into attacking this "what did you learn" section and applying it to your life, because I'm not here to get rich off of you. I'm here to develop my skills. I'm here to develop my mentality. I'm here to get ripped, shredded to the socks. I want this to look shredded, you know? And honestly, by doing that, I know that I'll be rich and I know I'll be wealthy, because I have completely different financial habits than I did when I was poor. I had completely different financial habits when I was 17 years old and I got $6,000 to live off of, and then pretty soon I was going to Walmart, cooking chicken in my microwave, trying to live off of $20 a week because I had no more food. Your issue is less about other people. It's less about the way the world works. It's less about all these secret societies and shit like that. And it's far more based upon your circle of influence around you and the person sitting in the middle of it, you. So that's your target. That's my advice. That's the book. That's my perspective of reality. If you want to talk more about it, we definitely can. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be releasing a lot more videos. And I'm always going to be expanding my knowledge. And the way that I work, within a year or so, all this is going to be updated. I'm going to know a lot more stuff by then as well. So I'm not looking for the short-term game. I'm not looking to rob anybody. I'm not looking to compete with anybody. I'm in it for the infinite game. So thank you so much for reading Wealth, Health, and Success. Thank you so much for following along with these videos. And I really hope that it's helped you. I really hope that it's gotten you to see how simple making money can be. That's why the book's only 104 pages or so, I believe. Is because it's not hard. Let's flip that. It's not complicated. It's not complicated. It's very simple. It's very simple. But the actual action of it and actually doing it and overriding your emotionality, overriding your instant gratification, that's very fucking difficult. Alex Becker released like a great video, why I started marketing, making money now. And, you know, it really is just the way that we think. Rich people think differently. And that thought process isn't 401ks and Roth IRAs. That stuff is really simple to understand. There's a greater deal of confidence in these people that become successful. Guys like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, that practice a ludicrous amount to have that confidence. Stop thinking that life is just about luck. That it's just about doing the right thing one or two times and then someone's going to pick you up. These people that you see, whether you like their music or don't like their music, whether you like their movies or don't like their movies, they've been through some shit. A lot of them have been through the exact same thing that you're going through. And it wasn't just luck that got them there, because luck is when opportunity meets preparation. If you haven't prepared for that moment of meeting a very famous rich person, or meeting someone that can take you to a whole new level, or you're an asshole and they don't want to help you because you're a shitty person with a terrible personality, focus there. And then focus on money. I really got no more things to say to you. I got more things to say with you over time, but it's not that it's not as difficult as we make it out to be. It's not as weird as we make it out to be. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope this resonates with somebody. God bless you.